Are you interested in the 10 deaths that have had the most significant impact on history? This video will examine the lives and deaths of some of history's most influential figures, as well as how their deaths have influenced the course of human events. From political leaders to cultural icons, we will explore the circumstances surrounding their deaths and their legacies they left behind. Stay tuned to learn the top 10 deaths that forever altered history. Michael Jackson. Michael Joseph Jackson was widely recognized as the king of pop. He was born in Gary, Indiana on August 29, 1958. Beginning at a young age, he and his siblings, Jackson 5, performed at various venues and rose to fame rapidly. Michael Jackson released some of the most iconic albums in music history as a solo artist, including Thriller, Bad, and Dangerous. His success and influence in the music industry were undeniable, as evidenced by the numerous awards and honors he received. The world was shocked by his death on June 25, 2009, at the age of 50, which occurred just 2 weeks before the start of his comeback tour. His unexpected death prompted a worldwide outpouring of grief, and the news dominated headlines for weeks. Michael Jackson's passing also sparked discussions about mental health and the pressures of fame. The circumstances surrounding his death, which included his use of prescription drugs, drew attention to the subject of addiction and the toll that fame and success can take on a person's mental health. Princess Diana Spencer, also known as the People's Princess, was born in Sandringham, Norfolk, on July 1, 1961. She wed Prince Charles, the Prince of Wales, in 1981 and rose to prominence in the United Kingdom. She was well known for her philanthropy, activism, and friendly and approachable demeanor. Her death in a Paris car accident on August 31, 1997, just 1 year after her divorce from Prince Charles, stunned the world. Her unexpected death prompted a worldwide outpouring of grief, and the news dominated headlines for weeks. The death of Princess Diana also resulted in changes to media coverage and privacy laws. The intense media coverage of her death and the paparazzi's role in the car accident prompted calls for stricter privacy laws and increased media regulation. In conclusion, Princess Diana's death not only signaled the end of a beloved public figure, but also caused significant shifts in public perception of the royal family, changes in media coverage, and modifications to privacy laws. Adolf Hitler. Hitler was a German politician and the Nazi Party's leader. He rose to power as German Chancellor in 1933 and then as Führer in 1934. Invading Poland in September 1939, he launched World War II in Europe during his dictatorship from 1933 to 1945. Throughout the duration of the war, he was intimately involved in military operations and was crucial to the execution of the Holocaust. Hitler's suicide in his Berlin bunker on April 30, 1945, marked the end of World War II in Europe. His death signified the collapse of Nazi Germany and the Third Reich. It also ended the Holocaust and led to liberation of concentration camps across Europe. In conclusion, Adolf Hitler's death signified the end of World War II and the fall of Nazi Germany, having a profound effect on the world. Hitler's death brought about significant geopolitical changes and had a profound effect on the course of the 20th century, from the reconstruction of Europe to the establishment of the United Nations to the establishment of the State of Israel. Abraham Lincoln. Abraham Lincoln served as the 16th President of the United States from March 1861 to April 1865, until his assassination. Lincoln led the United States through its bloodiest war, and perhaps its greatest moral, constitutional, and political crisis, the American Civil War. Thus, he preserved the Union, abolished slavery, consolidated the federal government, and modernized the economy. Lincoln was assassinated on April 14, 1865, while attending a play at Ford's Theater in Washington, D.C., by Confederate sympathizer John Wilkes Booth. His death stunned the nation and signaled the end of the Civil War, which had ended just days earlier. Abraham Lincoln's passing had a profound effect on the United States. The passing of Abraham Lincoln altered the course of a post-war America. A few years after his death, Congress and the states ratified the 13th Amendment, which abolished slavery. Lincoln's passing also marked the beginning of the United States Reconstruction and the granting of citizenship and voting rights to African Americans. In conclusion, Abraham Lincoln's death signaling the end of the American Civil War and the beginning of the nation's Reconstruction. It had a profound effect on the political landscape of the country and led to the abolition of slavery, as well as the granting of citizenship and voting rights to African Americans. Martin Luther King. Martin Luther King Jr. was a civil rights activist and leader who was instrumental in the 1950s and the 1960s American civil rights movement. His efforts to end segregation and racial discrimination through nonviolence and civil disobedience resulted in substantial changes to American laws and attitudes. Martin Luther King Jr.'s demise was one of the most significant and consequential in history. James Earl Ray assassinated King in Memphis, Tennessee, on April 4th, 1968. The news of his death sparked riots and demonstrations in more than 100 American cities. In conclusion, the death of Martin Luther King Jr. altered the course of the civil rights movement and the fight for racial equality in American history. His passing served as a catalyst for further development and continues to inspire social justice movements worldwide. In the United States, his legacy lives on through laws, holidays, and memorials. John F. Kennedy. John F. Kennedy, also known as JFK, served as the 35th President of the United States from 1961 to 1963. During his presidency, JFK implemented a number of policies and initiatives that have had long-lasting effects on American society and the global community. John F. Kennedy's death was one of the most transformative in human history. JFK was assassinated while riding in an open car in Dallas, Texas. In the United States and around the world, the news of his death was met with shock and grief. The assassination of John F. Kennedy marked a turning point in American history. His presidency was marked by a number of noteworthy achievements, including the founding of the Peace Corps, the launch of the Apollo program, and the signing of the Nuclear Test Ban Treaty, the Civil Rights Act of 1964, which prohibited discrimination based on race, color, religion, sex, or national origin, was enacted as a direct result of the assassination of John F. Kennedy. Elvis Presley. Elvis Presley, also known as the King of Rock and Roll, was one of the most influential musicians of the 20th century and a cultural icon. The world was shocked by his death on August 16, 1977, at the age of 42. And it had a profound effect on the music industry. However, Presley's untimely death cemented his place in history forever. The news of his death sent shockwaves throughout the music industry and the world's fans. In the days and weeks that followed, tributes from all corners of the globe poured in, and his music once again topped the charts. Elvis Presley's passing signified not only the end of an era, but also the loss of a genuine cultural icon. His music and influence are still felt today, establishing him as one of the most influential figures in the history of the music industry. Mother Teresa. Mother Teresa, also known as Saint Teresa of Calcutta, was a Catholic nun and missionary who devoted her life to caring for the poor and afflicted. Her work has had a significant impact on the world, and she is widely regarded as one of the most influential figures of the 20th century. One of the most remarkable aspects of Mother Teresa's life was the manner in which she lived. She worked in the slums of Calcutta, India, for over 45 years, providing care and assistance to those suffering from poverty, disease, and neglect. She established the Missionaries of Charity, a religious congregation that continues to operate in more than 130 countries. In conclusion, Mother Teresa's death is regarded as one of the most significant in history due to her immense impact on the world during her lifetime. Her unwavering commitment to serving the poor and sick, her founding of the Missionaries of Charity, and her ability to inspire and mobilize others to do the same have made her a symbol of compassion and service for all time. Mohandas K. Gandhi. In the early 20th century, Mohandas K. Gandhi, also known as Mahatma Gandhi, was a political leader and civil rights activist in India. His nonviolent resistance against British colonial rule ultimately led to India's independence in 1947, for which he is best known. Gandhi's philosophy of nonviolence and civil disobedience inspired civil rights and freedom movements across the globe, making him one of the most influential figures of the modern era. Gandhi's passing in 1948 marked a turning point in Indian history and had a profound effect on the entire world. Gandhi was assassinated by a Hindu nationalist on his way to a prayer meeting on January 30th, 1948. The news of his death sent shockwaves throughout India and the rest of the world, resulting in widespread grief and demonstrations. Gandhi's death was a turning point in Indian history as it marked the end of one era and the beginning of another. His passing was a devastating blow to the Indian independence movement and the entire world, but his legacy will endure as a symbol of hope and peace for future generations. In this video, we discuss the 10 deaths that had the greatest impact on shaping history. Each of these individuals, from Elvis Presley to Martin Luther King, left a legacy that continues to shape the world in which we live today. And that concludes our video. We hope you found it to be informative and enhancing. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a video from us. Thank you for watching.